Strap in, folks, this is gonna be a long one. Bendigo 2025, or should I say Spendigo, is in the books. Another year done. This was actually only my second time going, so I make it sound like I go every year, but this is only my second time and my first full weekend attending the Australian Sheep and Wool Festival. And you guys already know why you're here, okay? I bought a lot of yarn. No one's surprised. Did I make an entire plans video to try hold myself accountable so that I wouldn't go and stray too far off my plans, but then obviously ended up still straying far off my plans and overspending and ending up with 3 giant bags of yarn? Yes. But I will say, making a list and coming in with some sort of plan, project ideas, knowing which yarns I wanted to buy from which stalls, did make it a lot easier and made me feel a lot better about the amount of money that I spent, because at least I'm pretty confident that those yarns are going to be used. Maybe not, you know, this week. It's going to take me a while to kind of get through everything. Obviously, I also have a fairly sizable yarn stash, but yeah, I feel at least like I wasn't doing what I often do at these things, which is just buy single skeins of sock yarn, which look, I did in some cases, but like, I feel like at the Australian Yarn Show, which was like, what, 4 months ago now? That is like pretty much all I did. I just bought single skeins of sock yarn because I wanted to try and shop from like as many stalls as possible, and I didn't really have like project plans. So now I just like have all these single skeins and they're beautiful, but there's only so many socks a person can make, and I'm not such a prolific sock knitter that I make like sock after sock after sock. Like I might make like a few pairs a year if I'm lucky. So I decided to come in with some bigger projects in mind this year so that hopefully everything will get used. And this video is just gonna be me showing you everything I bought. I didn't actually vlog this year. I did take some footage, but it wasn't like a proper like start to finish Bendigo vlog per se, because it was a long weekend. There was a lot going on. I was partly helping Chloe from Woollen Works run her stall, and also just there's so many people, it just like is really hard to like properly like vlog there. And yeah, there was just a lot going on. So I decided, also knowing that this was probably gonna be a long yarn haul, that it was best to just focus on that. And then I guess I'll just like splice in some clips here and there to like show a little bit more of what the show was like, but it's not gonna be like a full vlog, if that makes sense. But yeah, this one is mostly gonna just be a yarn haul, and honestly, I feel like I need to stop rambling because we have so much to get to. Like, oh my God. Like, maybe this should be the thumbnail. A lot of yarn to get to, and I can already sense the sun is disappearing on me. So let's make the most of the sunshine while I have it and get this yarn haul out of the way so that A, I can put it all away, and B, cast things on, because I am so excited about some of the projects that I have planned for this yarn, and I'm just itching to cast them on, but needed to wait until I film this haul. So yeah, let's just get this underway, shall we? Hold that thought. Before we start, hi, I'm Jamie. If you're new here, I make videos about knitting and yarn, and if that is your thing, feel free to subscribe and check out all my other videos and follow me on Instagram at Jamie_creates. I also design knitting patterns, which I will talk about to an extent in this video. So yeah, this is one of my patterns. This is the pretzel pullover. It's a lovely, chunky cabled jumper that I designed like 3 years ago, but I still wear it all the time, especially on these cold winter days that we're having in Australia right now. So yeah, if this is how you're finding me, I'm sort of sorry, because the impression that you're gonna get of me is that I'm like a crazy overspender. And to be honest, I do go a bit crazy with yarn sometimes, but like looking at my Bendigo haul from last year, like I looked at like my photo from this year compared to last year, and like, firstly, what a year of employment will do, because I got my part-time job like almost a year ago now. Whoa. Crazy. And also just like what 3 days at the show versus 1 day will do. So yeah, but I promise I'm not always like this, okay? I like gave myself permission to go wild this year, but if you like watching giant yarn hauls, then I guess this is the video for you. I guess a little bit of context for those of you who aren't familiar, because you may not be from Australia or may just not be aware, but every year the Australian Sheep and Wool Show happens in July in Bendigo, Victoria, which is about 2 hours out of Melbourne. So not too far for me, but people come from all over the country. It is absolutely crazy to see how many people all want to come and spend their weekend doing all things yarn or sheep or wool related, fibre, etc. I honestly spent majority of my time in the yarny, woolly, fibre portion of the show. I really didn't do too much with the sheep. I did go to a petting zoo, so I might insert some clips here because I think I did try and get some, but it was like a lot going on with cute little animals everywhere, and I was just trying to like capture as much of it as I could while also just like enjoying the animals. So I did see some sheep, but I didn't go into like the big sheep sheds or look at the sheep shearing or any of that, because honestly, I don't know. I'm a vegetarian, I'm a ex-vegan. Some things still kind of don't really sit too right with me. So I just didn't really want to, you know, engage with that too much. I know there's probably like some conflicting like cognitive dissonance going on there, but anyway, I didn't really see too much of that. So if that's what you're here to hear about, you're not really going to hear about it from me, because I didn't really do it. I didn't really go, I didn't really see much of it, but I did see a lot of yarn. So basically the way the show is set up, there are 2 main sheds for all the yarn and fibre related products. There's also like, it's not just yarn, like there's some like clothes and other like goods, I guess, but mostly yarn. And then there's like 4 or 5 other like smaller sheds as well. So my mistake last year was not knowing about those smaller sheds and then like basically spending my entire budget in the big sheds and then going to the smaller sheds and being like, oh, but there's all this other yarn I didn't know about. And then I went over my budget because I wasn't aware. So at least this year I was aware of the full scope of it. But even then I still kind of was like, oh my gosh, like another shed I didn't see yet. So it took me a while to make my way through all of it. And I think 3 days was probably not necessary. 2 days is definitely a good amount of time to spend there if you really want to just like get a full sense of the show and not feel rushed. Because if you're just there for 1 day, like it can be a lot to like take in everything and then also like decide what you want to buy. So it also meant I could like sleep on some purchases as well. But yeah, the 3rd day, I didn't spend like too much time at the show. So yeah, majority of my purchases were made honestly on the 1st day, but also the 2nd day. And then like a couple of last minute impulse buys happened on the 3rd day. So yeah, I probably wouldn't do 3 days again unless I was like vending, because just the more time you spend there, the more like, I guess, inclination you feel to spend money, and like, yeah, maybe wasn't fully necessary. But regardless, I still had an incredible time and got to see more of Bendigo as well, get a better sense for the town, which is honestly a lovely town. Obviously, with it being the show weekend, there was definitely a lot more people there than probably would normally be. So I can't really say whether or not like it's always that buzzing, but it was buzzing, especially at night, like driving through the city centre to get to like different things that I was doing. There was just people everywhere. So the town was definitely well and truly alive over the weekend. So that was really nice to see, especially in winter when like, I feel like a lot of people kind of want to just hibernate. So that is basically the overview of the show. To tell you like a little bit about my weekend before we get into all the yarn, I guess, as I said, I went this year to primarily help Chloe from Woollen Works with her stall. I've got to say, she had a lot of help and I was very distracted by a lot of the yarn, and also, yeah, just like, there's only so many people that can really be helping at once. She also had like, what was it, 3 other friends that came up as well. So we all had an Airbnb, which was really fun. So we had, yeah, great accommodation, very close to the show. So it was all really convenient. But yeah, I definitely didn't do as much like stall manning as I thought I would, but wasn't like I left Chloe there on her own. She had plenty of help, and it, I guess, meant that I could like freely enjoy the show as much as I kind of wanted. And then when I wanted to take a little break from walking around or just like, yeah, spend some time there. And also like my book, Fast and Fabulous Knits, was available for purchase from her store. So thank you to those of you who bought it. So yeah, obviously I wanted to be there to answer questions and things about that. So yeah, it was a bit of a mixed bag for me, but it was really great. And I got to see a lot of my like Fibre friends. We went out for dinner on the Saturday night, and then we went to a craft cinema night, which was the first one happening in Bendigo. So that was really cool. It was like such a good idea to do it on the show weekend. We watched Legally Blonde, and we may or may not have been late because we got the start time wrong, but we didn't miss too much. So I definitely got a little bit of knitting done as well, but honestly, it was mostly yarn shopping. That's kind of like the overview of the weekend. So without further ado, let us get into the yarn. So I'm actually gonna start with yarn that I didn't buy at the show, because I also was lucky enough to have time this year to visit the Bendigo Wool Mills, which you may or may not be familiar with. I have been familiar with it for a while. I've known about it, but I'd never been, and I'd never used their yarn before. Last year, I think we just like didn't have time. Like we drove up, you know, in the late morning, we spent a few hours at the show and then drove home. Like we just didn't have time to really do anything else. So we just didn't get around to going to the Bendigo Woollen Mills last year. But obviously knowing I was gonna be there for 3 days this year, it was very much on my list of things to do, and I actually ended up going twice. The first time was at the end of the day on Friday. We got there like 20 minutes before they closed, which was a little bit stressful because I wasn't sure I was gonna go again, and I also was like worried they were gonna sell out of colors and things that I wanted. So I wanted to try and get there on the Friday, but at the same time getting there right before they closed when it was that busy, and I like didn't really know what colors I wanted exactly yet. Like I hadn't quite made up my mind. Made it very stressful. And so I ended up actually going again on the Sunday morning to mostly just browse, because I felt like I didn't really get an opportunity to do that and like see what else they had, like apart from the things that I knew I wanted, and also really like explore their bargain room, which they had open all weekend. So I'm glad I went back. I may or may not have bought some more yarn when I went back, but it was from the bargain room, so it was a great deal. Yeah, so I ended up going twice, and they actually had my book, which was really cool. I would not have noticed it. It was like they had a little book section like under the counter where you pay, and like I did not even look there. And then my friend Bridie was like, "Oh, Jamie, look, they have your book." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And so I signed it, and then they like put it on display, and then when I went back on Sunday, it was not there anymore. So I'm assuming someone bought it, so thank you to whoever did that. But anyway, okay, I'm rambling way too much. All right, let us begin, okay? Bendigo Woollen Mills. I've got everything in one giant bag, so please bear with me. Bendigo Woollen Mills, I don't know like too much about the history, but I know they've been there for a very long time, and all their yarn comes in like giant 200-gram balls, which is not something I'm used to. I'm used to like 50 to 100-gram balls, and it's just like so affordable for like what I can tell is pretty good and nice yarn. Obviously it's not like super like luxury merino, like silk, whatever. Like it's not like cashmere. I mean, maybe they have a cashmere, I don't know. It's still like a commercial yarn, but I feel like maybe it's cheap because they do it all in house. Like, I don't know, but like it is very affordable. So I felt like I could really just like get sweater quantities and not feel like I'm like completely breaking the bank, which was a very nice change. And I definitely feel like, assuming I'm gonna like working with this yarn, I will probably be buying from them quite a bit in the future, like just ordering online, especially now that I've like seen all the yarn and will have tried it out. So I'll have a better sense for what I like. So yeah, I ended up getting 3 sweater quantities of yarn. So I will start just with what is at the top of my bag, which is their luxury 4-ply. I got 3 skeins in this baby blossom colorway. It's 100% wool, and I believe it's superwash, because it does say you could do a warm machine wash, short gentle cycle. So it is nice and soft. Hopefully you can get like a good sense of the color, because I know the light, the window's on the side, but hopefully you can see. It's this beautiful baby pink, pretty standard like millennial pink. I'm gonna be making the Lilac Blossom sweater by Kylie. Oh my God, I've forgotten what I know it's by Kylie on Instagram, but I always forget like what her kind of like designer name is. Well, I think, yeah, Kylie Noel, or by Kylie on Instagram. I talked more about this in my plan, so I won't go too in depth, but I'll put a photo up on the screen. It's a beautiful like lace textured jumper that has like different sections with different stitch patterns, very similar to like the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit, or the Storm sweater, or my own attention deficit jumper. So honestly, I would not be knitting a fingering weight jumper if it wasn't something like this, because I don't think I could handle it. I think I would literally cry if I don't know if I'd ever finish it if I was knitting an entire jumper in fingering weight. I don't think I've ever done that. So wish me luck, I guess. I'm pretty keen to cast this on soon, because I know it's gonna take me ages. And I feel like it'll be a really nice one for like the spring, maybe even summer, because it's gonna be pretty lightweight and thin. I decided to go for this pink. She makes everything in purple, which I love. I don't make everything in pink, but I do have a lot of pink. I definitely think pink is my favorite color. So I thought for my one, I should do like a beautiful light pink. Maybe it can be like a cherry blossom sweater. So yeah, I got 3 balls of this one. And then next on my list was getting their luxury 8-ply, which is their DK weight yarn, but it has 200, well, like I said, it's 200 grams and it has 400 meters. So it ends up being 200 meters for 100 grams, which is the same meterage as Cascade 220, which I used for my shortcake sweater. And honestly, they classify it as a worsted weight. So I don't know, it's kind of somewhere between a DK and a worsted, but it's the exact same meterage. And I have been itching to make a second one. Seeing everyone's color palettes, like all my testers, really made me just like want to do another one. And with the pattern having just been released, I was thinking maybe I'll do like a knit along. Especially I feel like the timing is quite good for people in the Northern Hemisphere, like leading into winter. So I wanna like make sure I plan that out properly. So I haven't decided like exactly when it's gonna start and all the details yet, but definitely keep an eye out because now I have yarn to make another one. The only thing is like I said, was under the pump with time and I just like could not decide on 3 colors. So I ended up getting 4 because I liked a lot of different combinations between these 4 colors and I just figured, well, whichever one I don't use in the end will just, I'll use it for something else. Like it's basically 2 skeins of DK weight yarn, which I feel like I can do a fair bit with, especially if I like use it with like other Bendigo yarn in the future, or I don't know, just like I figured I could make it work. So I'm still yet to decide which 3 colors I want to use. So please leave a comment letting me know which combination you like. So I'm going to try and like show them all to you, but I got the cream colorway, which is just cream. And then these were the 3 like actual colors. I'll try hold them all up together, but it may not be possible. I got this baby mint, like put my face out of it. Hopefully it will figure out. Yeah, there we go. And then I love this one. This is their baby blue. I'm just like sticking all my fingers in to see if I can hold them all. Okay, I actually might be able to. And then the last one, oh, I think the label broke off, but it's geranium. So it's this like vibrant pink. Of course, now the sun comes out and actually makes it quite difficult to show, but it's this like vibrant kind of like hot pink, but it's like quite warm in its tone. Anyway, so these are the 4 colors together. So like, okay, let me try and like show you. So I don't think I would do this combo because I feel like the cream is good. If I use the cream, I'm fairly certain it would be like the small stripe like I did with the white for my original shortcake sweater. So like we could have like these 3, which I really like, but then we could also have like these 3, which is like really fun. Or we could do just blues and have these 3. I feel like those are my options at this point. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning more towards either these 3 or these 3 because I feel like the pink is just really fun and like adds a bit more interest to it, I guess, because I feel like the blue is just like, okay, it's like 2 different blues in a white or a cream. It's not like that interesting, but also obviously does look really nice together. So yeah, I'm still just a bit conflicted. I can't decide. So if you can help me out, please, that would be great. Leave a comment, let me know which one's your favorite, and hopefully I'll make a decision soon. I'll also probably do like a poll on my story or something to help me decide. But yeah, so that will be a shortcake sweater, and it's so great. I only need 1 of each because I used 2 skeins of the red, 2 skeins of the pink, and 1 skein of the cream white for my original shortcake sweater. So yeah, 1 skein of each of these will be enough for me, which is great because 1 skein of this is like 2 skeins of Cascade. So it's perfect. The last one that I bought was very much an impulse purchase that I got on the Sunday when I came back to the mills. Like I said, this one I got from the back room. The back room's a bit random. Like it's like, a lot of it isn't like, they don't specify exactly what yarn it is. Like a lot of it's discontinued colors and stuff, but also just like, I think just like random yarn that like maybe didn't make the cut, or like old yarns that they don't have anymore. I don't know. It's all a bit confusing because like it doesn't specify that it's like the luxury base, but like the luxury 8-ply and 4-ply, they say 100% pure wool. This one says, oh no, it also says, no wait. Oh yeah, these ones say 100% wool, and then this one says 100% pure wool. I think that's just the same thing, right? But then it doesn't say it's the luxury 8-ply, but to me it feels the same. So I feel like it's just a discontinued color of the luxury 8-ply, which I got for $16 a ball, which I think is only a little bit less than the luxury 8-ply, but still like basically is like $8 for 100 grams, which is insanely cheap. So yeah, I ended up getting another sweater quantity. I got 3 skeins of this beautiful colorway. They've called it Splice. It's so nothing like anything I have really. It's this like beautiful yellow, but it's kind of like an almost like an orangey yellow, but like I wouldn't call it orange. It's definitely yellow. They have like a buttercup yellow or butter yellow in their like main range of colors, but it was just like too light for me, and I feel like it washes me out, is what I was told at least. And it just was like more on the cooler side, and I wanted something a bit more warm. This I wouldn't obviously say is a butter yellow. I would say this is like a kind of like a marigold or like sunshiny golden yellow. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. But yeah, I just felt like this kind of worked better for my like, I guess like color analysis or whatever, which I actually haven't done, so I could be completely wrong, but this one felt like it suited me more. So I got 3 skeins of this, and I had absolutely no idea what I'm gonna make. It could be a design one day, or I might use it for a pattern, like some kind of cable knit or something that I feel like are more better suited towards solid colors. So I feel like there's a lot of possibilities for what these 3 skeins that I got could become. And that is everything I got from Bendigo Woolen Mills. And now we will move on to the show, everything I got from the actual sheep and wool show. Okay, I'm scared I'm gonna forget to talk about these 2, so I will start with them because they aren't in any of my bags, and I'm just scared that I'm gonna forget. So we'll start with this beautiful project bag that I got. I don't really need more project bags, but also with the amount of projects I may end up having from like buying all this yarn, like maybe I do need more project bags, you know? I have very much had like cast on itis at the moment. I've just been casting on so many different projects. It's been really fun. So yeah, maybe you can never have enough project bags, especially when they are this beautiful. This one is from Cat Stitchery. This is like her little logo. I actually met her at the Australian Yarn Show in Canberra a few months ago, and I saw her again when I went to the Fancy Yarns pop-up. So yeah, it's been really nice to kind of like get to know Liz. She's absolutely lovely, very funny person, and she's very talented. She makes beautiful project bags and like little needle cases and little like pouches and things. She also sells like Chiaogu. I bought my Chiaogu set from her in Canberra. And I think actually like my first ever project bag that I ever bought was from her. I just got it from Maker in Melbourne, but it was actually made by her. So very full circle. And now like I've actually met her. She's just the loveliest person. And I just, yeah, it was so hard to choose, honestly. There were so many beautiful fabrics and beautiful designs and beautiful different like styles of bags, but I just ended up getting this pretty small one. Like it's not tiny, and she said like it does fit like a good amount. And like as you can see kind of how the bottom kind of opens up. I love this green that she's used at the bottom. That was like the main thing that drew me to it. But yeah, it's got like these handles, which I really like, because then I can kind of just like take it around with me. But then also it has like the drawstring to close the bag. So love that a lot, really like that style of bag. And yeah, there's just this beautiful floral fabric is just so stunning. So that was the only project bag I got. And I actually, look, if you look on the inside, you can see it's got like little slots to put like, I guess, needles or little notions and tools and things. They're all like different sizes as well. And yeah, it's beautifully lined. So I am very excited to put whatever project I cast on next in this bag. Hi, it's editing me from the future, I guess. Just wanted to pop this clip in because I realized that I never addressed this. I guess I had forgotten what I talked about in my original plans video when I was filming the haul, but now that I've edited the original plans video, it's like top of mind for me. So I feel like I should just address it in case you watch the other video and you're like, wait, what about that thing you wanted to buy? I don't know, maybe no one's thinking this, but basically in my plans video, I talked about how I wanted to get a tote bag from Cat Stitchery. No, I do not think that that tiny project bag is a tote bag. She had these much bigger like tote, like legit like tote bags at the Australian Yarn Show in Canberra, which I talked about, and I never got one and I regretted it. And then I was just kind of hoping she would have them at Bendigo, but unfortunately she didn't have them. She just said she didn't have time, which is like really valid. There's a lot of work that goes into preparing for Bendigo, so I totally get it. But I still wanted to buy something from her, and that's why I decided to get a project bag instead of a tote bag. So yeah, just to clarify and just like forget about the tote bag that I wanted. She just didn't have them. So I just was like, instead of not getting anything, let me just get a project bag. That's logical. So yeah, that's just in case you're wondering why I didn't buy it. That's why. Okay, cool. And then this one was actually, I want to say this was the last thing I bought at the show. It was very impulsive, but I saw it and I just pictured it immediately in my craft room, particularly right in that spot, that blank space over here that you can see. Because like I do have like my little punch needle embroidery thing on the wall, but like I just feel like this space is not being used yet. And I wasn't really sure what was gonna go there. But I saw this mirror at this beautiful stall, this macrame stall. It was one of the outdoor ones right by the entrance. And she doesn't have an Instagram, but her business name is Macrame Made by JD. And I just saw this and I could just immediately picture it in my craft room. So I bought it. You're about to see yourself. Say hi. Hey. But yeah, it's a beautiful little mirror with a gorgeous little macrame border in a pastel rainbow, which was just way too me to not get. So I'm gonna put it up there. I just need to do another hook in the wall, but that's where it's gonna go. And it's actually, I feel like perfect because obviously I do already have a mirror, which you can like sort of see in this room, but that's like a full length mirror. Obviously it's good for like trying things on and outfits and all that jazz. But I do actually also have like my earring stand next to me here in this little corner. And often when I'm like deciding what earrings I want, like then I have to like either go to that mirror or like go to another mirror in the apartment, and like it's like a bit annoying. Like if I'm like, oh, what about these ones? And then like I have to come back, and then it's just like a lot of walking around. Whereas like if I had just like a little face mirror like right there, then I could just, you know, decide which earrings I want to wear. So I feel like it was actually, yeah, great spot for it, perfect. And it wasn't too expensive. So yeah, this was another fun and random but exciting purchase. Okay, I think I'm gonna start with the commercial yarn bag first because I feel like I want to save the best to last with all the hand-dyed yarn that I bought. So yeah, we will start with this. It probably won't take me too long to go through because it's mostly the same yarn, just like different colors. I did talk about this in my plans video, so yay for sticking to plans, but then I also very much like impulsively bought another color and a whole sweater quantity of this yarn. So we stuck to the plans, but like really, did we? Semantics. Anyway, so I bought, as I had planned to, 4 skeins of CaMaRose Snefnug, however you say it. Snefnug is kind of what sounds right to me, but it's not in English, so who really knows? Let me just get my face out of it so it focuses. Yay. In this beautiful jelly bean green color, which is just, I've had my eye on this color for so long. I almost bought it last year, I feel like. I was really close to buying it, but I didn't. I mentioned this in my previous video, but yeah, I do plan on reworking my happy hour top into a top-down knit rather than a bottom-up, and I'm gonna try and make it in the round. I think it shouldn't be too hard to do that. So yeah, that is something that I've been thinking about for a while. The pattern released 3 years ago. I think there's a lot of changes and improvements that can be made, particularly making it work from the top down so that the length is more customizable. And yeah, I just feel like I've improved a lot as a designer since then, and it's like my best-selling pattern. So I feel like my best-selling pattern should probably be improved upon if I feel like it can be. And yeah, I definitely think it can. And I've done some swatches already with some like scrap yarn that I had. And I think I can make the increases work for the armholes and everything. So I was like pretty confident that I'll be able to do it. So I bought 4 skeins of the jelly bean green, because I think it's just so pretty, and I don't really feel like I have anything in this like this bright of a green. Very excited to cast this one on. This will probably be one of the first things that I cast on, maybe, if not the first, because I am really keen to start working on this, because I don't know how many iterations. I feel like I'm gonna need to probably do a bit of frogging. Like it's gonna be a bit of work to make it happen, but I'm keen to, yeah, to get onto it so that hopefully I can get the ball rolling with it. So yeah, I bought 4 skeins of this jelly bean green. And I also should mention that I bought these from ZigoZago, which is like an online, I think they're online only. They might not be, but they are like they're a supplier for like a lot of like international yarns. So they've got a lot of CaMaRose. They've also got like some hand-dyed stuff from like Fibre, and I'm trying to remember, they also had walk yarn. I don't remember who else they had, to be honest. They had a lot of Fibre. I held back, okay? Be proud of me, okay? I resisted. I didn't resist last year, but I resisted this year. And they also had like their own hand-dyed yarn as well, a little bit, I think a little bit of their own stuff. But yeah, I spent so much time in their stall. I went there like 4 times because they were not too far from Chloe's stores. So yeah, I just kind of kept fighting myself there. But yeah, so I got these 4. And then I may or may not have like done this like maybe first thing in the morning on Saturday. Like I was just so impulsive, but honestly, no regrets, okay? I thought they had sold out of this color or like only had like 2 left. So I had kind of put the dream of buying a sweater quantity of this behind me. But then when I showed up on Saturday and I saw that they had like restocked the shelves, I was like, oh, you didn't sell out of that color. How convenient. So I ended up getting 8 skeins, which is definitely, I think, a good sweater quantity, a good safe sweater quantity for a sweater that I don't even know what this will be, but I got 8 skeins of their colorway. It's called Pink. I think that's pretty fitting because that's a pink, all right? It's sort of similar to the geranium, actually, now that I look at it. Maybe I'm going through a bit of a phase with this color at the moment. So yeah, I ended up getting 8 of these. I have absolutely no clue what they will be. It will either be, look, if I'm being real, it will either be a new design or it will be a cloud sweater by Petite Knit. So we'll just kind of have to see what comes to mind at the time when I feel like casting this on. But I feel like if it does end up being a cloud sweater, I will not be mad at it. I feel like it will be a really pretty cloud sweater, so we'll see. But yeah, I got 8 skeins of this. Anyway, another impulse buy, but one that I'm pretty excited about and curious to kind of see how it works out, was from the Fancy Yarns store. So if you don't know who Fancy Yarns are, it is run by Kat and John, who also run the Australian Yarn Show. And their main thing is like eco and novelty yarns. So they've curated quite the selection of really like unique yarns that like you wouldn't really find kind of at your local yarn store necessarily. And they've got a real focus on like sustainability and all that jazz. And I had only ever really bought the hand-dyed yarn that they offer from them. Like I don't think I had bought like any of the actual like commercial yarns that they stocked, but this one really caught my eye. It's so soft and it's got such a concoction. Like it's when I'll read to you like the fiber content, it's wild. It's like a bit of everything. And it's actually self-striping yarn, which I really don't ever use. So I figured this could be a nice opportunity to do like a self-striping yarn that's like not too harsh. Like it's kind of, I don't know, it's giving me like an ombre vibe, but also like it is a self-striping yarn. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how it works up. But I ended up getting 2 skeins because yeah, these are 100-gram skeins, but like it's a similar construction to this yarn. So like these are 50-gram skeins, so it's kind of like double. So you get a lot, you get 350 meters for 100 grams. So I'm interested to see kind of like what weight of yarn this kind of works up like, because based on like that, you'd think it would be like a sport weight, but Kat was saying it's more like a worsted. So yeah, I think when it comes to like the chainette blown construction, it does definitely change. Like it's not your typical like this many grams for this many meters equals this weight of yarn type of thing. So yeah, I'm really curious to like swatch this up. I got 2 skeins, so it should be enough for like a vest of some sort. Don't know what vest, but yeah. So it's from Louisa Yarns and it's called Tula Tweed or Tula Tweed. And it says modern blend featuring merino wool, recycled cotton and eco-friendly recycled nylon. But if I go through like the fiber content, it's 49% virgin wool, 26% cotton, 13% nylon, 8% acrylic, and 4% viscose. So that's a lot of different things going on. Color is McKenna. So I ended up getting 2 of these and you can just see it's like a really pretty like yellow, purple, mauve situation with like the tweed. And I really don't use a lot of tweed like ever either. So I definitely was branching out a little bit here, but then it also felt still like very in line with like my usual color palette and whatnot. So yeah, I got 2 of these from Fancy Yarns, and that was all the commercial yarn that I bought. So now we will move on to hand-dyed yarn, and I have a giant bag. So strap in, okay? There's gonna be a lot. I'm gonna save this one for last, I think, because it's the funniest thing that I bought, honestly. And I feel like you guys are gonna judge me, so I'm leaving it to the end. Very excited about all of these purchases, some of them planned, some of them impulsive. Like I said, it was a bit of a mixed bag when it came to my list. I definitely did like tick off pretty much everything on my list, I think. Like my list was smashed in like the first like hour or 2. So after that I was like, well, now what? So yeah, that's why I kind of wouldn't recommend going for 3 days, because you kind of just like, well, now what? I guess I'll just buy more. But yeah, okay. I'm just gonna go in order of like from top to bottom. So if it's like slightly incoherent or incohesive, bear with me, but I feel like I tried to pack everything I kind of tried to keep things together. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. But okay, this first one is, these first few that I'm going to show you are like the first purchases I made of the show, because I was not going to miss out on snagging these. I knew they would probably sell out if I didn't, and I was right. Well, I mean, who's to say? But I'm assuming if I didn't buy the quantities that I got, that they would be sold out, because all the other stock in the colors and yarns that I bought were sold out very quickly, I think by the end of like the first day. So I definitely feel like I had good taste in that sense. But yeah, if you missed my last video, as I mentioned, I was helping Chloe from Woollen Works run her stall, and she obviously had a beautiful selection of all of her yarns, but she also, which was just so exciting, she also brought in a pretty big selection of Sewrella yarn and Superglow Fibre, who are two very, firstly, incredible, but very big, well-known US dyers who either don't ship to Australia. In the case of Superglow, she doesn't ship to Australia anymore, which is very sad, but obviously amazing that Chloe brought the yarn in so we could shop it in real life as well, which is so cool. And Sewrella, the shipping is just, I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna, I don't know the ins and outs of shipping and why shipping can cost so much, but yeah, the shipping from Sewrella to Australia is outrageous. Like, it is so diabolical. I have been so tempted to order from collections in the past because she just dyes the most incredible yarn, and I just have fallen in love with so many colorways, and I just am also like pretty like emotionally attached to Sewrella because she doesn't even know this, but she taught me how to knit. So I feel really attached to her yarn, and I do have some of her yarn. I mentioned this in the other video, but it was from her Oopsie sale from a couple of years ago. I splurged on the shipping, and the yarn is nice, but it's not really what I thought it was gonna be. So I just haven't used it yet. I haven't really found the right thing for it. So yeah, this kind of felt like my first Sewrella purchase, even though it technically isn't, because it was like, obviously I was like being a bit more intentional with what I was buying rather than just like hoping for the best. So I had a plan when it came to Sewrella and Superglow. I knew exactly what I wanted because fortunately I had seen everything before when I had been to Chloe's house and was dropping off the books before the show. So I got to see everything that was going to be on offer. So that was a little advantage I had, I guess, but I was not the only person with this plan, okay? Someone else was there at 9 AM on Friday with 4 skeins of the yarn I'm about to show you in her hands, and I had planned to get 2 or 3 and there were only 6. So I ended up getting 2 because that was all that was left. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do this right now. There's like no time to waste. So honestly, good on you to the person who had the same idea as me. So, okay, enough yapping. I'm just gonna show you. So this is the beautiful Lavender Haze yarn from Sewrella in her Suri DK, which I think is like a limited edition base. I haven't seen her like promoting it, or like it hasn't been featured in any of her like current collection base photos, like where she shows all the bases. So I feel like this was just kind of like a limited edition base that she brought in, but she dyed some of the colors on it specifically for the Bendigo order that she sent to Chloe. So I was so happy that I could get a chance to try this beautiful, beautiful base. Like I said, I'm in my blown yarn era, okay? And for the Eras collection, that feels very perfect. So yeah, this is from her Eras Part 2 collection. She had colorways from both Part 1 and Part 2. And yeah, this is her Suri DK in Lavender Haze. It's just the most beautiful purple, and Chloe is actually currently knitting with it because she bought it like last year when she was in the US, and it's just so nice. So I'm very excited to make a vest, probably because I only have 2, so I should have enough for a vest because like I said, they're 100-gram skeins, 70% baby alpaca, 23% recycled nylon, and 7% fine merino wool. And you get 260 meters for 100 grams. So it's technically a DK weight, and we'll just kind of have to see how she works up and what I end up making with it. So I'm not really sure yet, but I just had to have it, and I'm so happy I do. It's just, oh my God, now the sun is shining. I'm like, you can feel it, you can really see just, It's so pretty, it's so pretty, it's so pretty, it's so pretty. And we won't even talk about how expensive it was because it would have been so much more expensive to buy this online. Like, Chloe has done us all a solid. So yeah, very excited about this. And then my other Sewrella purchase was just 1 skein of her nylon sock base in the colorway Betty, which is also from Eras Part 2. This one's inspired by like the Folklore Cabin, the Folklore Cabin, like at the Eras Tour, the Folklore set. And it's just this beautiful mix of like greens and like pinks, mauves, bit of like mustard yellow in there. And I just thought it was so moody and so pretty. And I just had to have this one. And apparently other people also did because they sold out of this color as well. So yeah, that is probably just gonna be a pair of socks if I'm being real, but I don't know. This one actually might go kind of nicely with the other Sewrella yarn that I have now that I'm looking at it. These are the skeins that I got from the Oopsie sale. So it's like, maybe these would look really nice together. Like, I feel like maybe I could make something more than just socks if I use all of them, because I'm pretty sure they're not the same base though. That's the only thing. This one's like a twist and this one isn't. So they would work up kind of differently. So maybe not, but that is still interesting, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what this ends up being, but if anything, it will be a beautiful pair of socks. So TBD on that, but I just had to have it. All right, I really got to get on with this because I feel like my camera's gonna die if I don't. Okay, and then from Superglow, I had a restraint. I do have some Superglow in my stash because luckily, even though she doesn't ship to Australia anymore, Chloe has been to the US a couple of times and has brought some back for me. But this one was just way too good to not buy. Like, I'm sorry. It's her super sock base, which is, yeah, just like superwash merino nylon. You know the drill. And it's in the colorway The Magician. And I'm just simply in love. I immediately saw it and was like, mine. Absolutely no chance I was not going to buy this. So yeah, it's just like a beautiful rainbow cream situation. I can't. It's just, and it like matches the label so well as well. So yeah, that is from Superglow and it's stunning and I love it. And I can't wait to cast it on at some point. Who knows when. But yeah, so that is my little US dyer part of the haul. I'll just like stick with Woollen Works because we're here. I just realized I also got some wool wash from Woollen Works, but I don't have it with me right now. It's in like the other room and I kind of can't be bothered going and getting it. But I also got some more wool wash, just restocking because I'm almost out, but I love Chloe's wool wash. So I always take the opportunity to get some at these markets when I can or when I need. But yeah, in terms of yarn, I got this one skein of DK Merino boucle. She didn't have that much boucle. It was mostly just like leftover random one single skeins from the Barbie collection. And honestly, I feel like it was weird. Like there was like no boucle at the show. I expected to see a lot more because I feel like boucle is really trendy, especially with like furniture at the moment. But maybe it's just like, I don't know, we've passed the boucle trend when it comes to yarn. I still really like it. And yeah, normally I wouldn't buy a single skein of boucle, but someone actually gifted Chloe, which was so nice, a teddy clutch, I think it's called, by Petite Knit, that they had made using her boucle yarn in the Rufus colorway, which is like, oh my God, like they bought her yarn, then made something and then gifted it to her. Like that's so nice. But yeah, we were all like admiring it and like obsessing over it. And I was like, oh, like maybe I could make one of those. Like that's like a good single skein boucle project. And so I ended up getting the Hi Barbie because I love Hi Barbie and I feel like it's not too intense and could like be a bit more like versatile in terms of like pairing it with outfits and stuff if I was to make the teddy clutch. But then like also I have 2 skeins of her boucle in the colorway Birthday Balloons, which I'm not gonna show you right now because there's like things stacked on top of it. And I feel like if I take it out, everything's gonna go toppling down, but it's like pretty cream pastel moment. So it would definitely go well with this. So I'm like, either this will become like a teddy clutch or something similar, or I will pair it with those 2 skeins of Birthday Balloons and make something a bit more substantial. I don't know, but I now have this. So we'll see what it ends up being. Okay, and then the other one is really random. She just had like a tub full of odd minis, like just random mini skeins, like tonals from like different mini sets that she'd done and stuff. But I was on the hunt for a specific shade of pink, like a baby pink basically, because I didn't actually mention this in my plans video. I don't know why. I definitely just forgot because like I'd forgotten to put it on my list for some reason, but it was very much like in my plans. I do plan on making the little checks socks by Summer Lee Knits, and I want to make it in like pink, red and white to match my shortcake sweater. And I had seen like a few projects that people had done that combination of colors, and it just looks so fun and pretty. So I'll show you the white that I got later on when it comes up, because I'm going to use the white for something else as well. And then I pre-ordered her Let It Rip colorway, which is like a red. It's like a slightly more pinky red than the one I use in the shortcake sweater, but it's still a really nice red. And I just needed like a pink, and I didn't feel like I needed a full skein of the pink. I could probably get away with a mini if I don't use it for like the heel or the toe or whatever. And because I've got a full skein of the white and I will have a full skein of the red, I just was like, okay, I can use those for the toe and the heel, and then I can just do a mini for the pink. So I had been looking everywhere and like hadn't been able to find the right pink. And then I was like looking through this tub that Chloe had, and I found one skein of this perfect pink. It was the only one she had. I feel like it's probably Greta, but like maybe slightly different, because I did use Greta. I just don't have like enough of it left. I used it for my patriarchy socks that I made recently, well, that I finished recently. I didn't start them recently, but I finished them recently. And I haven't put them next to each other, but I do feel like this is a slightly different, more muted pink, but it's probably just like a Greta Oopsie or something, I don't know. But yeah, I ended up getting this, so I'll finally be able to make those once I get my pre-order from the Bear Collection. But honestly, got so many plans that like I'm not really in a rush for it. But yeah, just feeding my pink and red obsession that I'm currently going through. So yeah, that was all I got from Woollen Works, which is kind of crazy because I spent all my time there. But I've used so much of her yarn over the years that like, yeah, it's like, wow, I feel like I've gotten a lot. And also I have my pre-order from the Bear that I'm still like waiting on. So I had to keep that in mind. Okay, moving on to some sparkle yarn that I got. I also somehow have never used sparkle yarn. Don't know, I like sparkly things. Oh, my camera's gonna die. Okay, wait, I need to charge it for like 20 minutes and then I'll come back. RIP. Yeah, okay. BRB. All right, I'm hoping I have enough battery. I may try and just get through this last few skeins a little bit quicker so that I don't have to go and charge my camera again. But yeah, sorry about that. Where was I? Okay, sparkle yarn, yes. So I have never bought sparkle yarn before. I don't know why, but I just kind of always thought maybe it would be like a bit scratchy, but it's really not. And there was quite a bit of really beautiful sparkly hand-dyed yarn at the show this year. And I ended up getting from 2 different dyers. So I will start with the first one. And that is this beautiful sock set that I got from my creative garage, whose yarn I am obsessed with, honestly. It's pretty impressive that I didn't buy more than this year. She had all these beautiful pink and also blue, but yeah, I really gravitated towards the pink ones. Gorgeous sock sets, and this is actually a set with 2 different minis, so I've got a dark and a light pink. And of course this beautiful variegated, oh yeah, now the sun's out so you can hopefully really see the sparkles. It's kind of hard to show up on camera, but in real life it's very sparkly. And yeah, there's the colorway Bloom, so it's definitely giving blossom, flower energy. It's 70% fine superwash merino and 25% nylon and 5% selena. So that's the sparkle. But yeah, so that was the first sparkle yarn I got. I did have her on my list. I just didn't know what I was gonna get. So yeah, I ended up getting this one. I held back on getting the beautiful Miffy bags that she had because once I'd gotten the bag from Cat Stitchery, I just knew that I didn't need 2 project bags, but she did have some really beautiful Miffy bags. So jealous of those who did get their hands on some of those. And then the second sparkle yarn, I hope the sun will come back out again so I can show you properly and you can really see the sparkleness of it all. I'm trying to see, oh yeah, you should still be able to see it. This was from Kathy's Fibres. And it's also, yeah, like I think the fiber content is the same, and it's the colorway Prettiest Pink. And I just really loved like how this was dyed. Like I'm really keen to see how this knits up, but yeah, I feel like it almost looks like a stripy situation, just like in the skein, it looks very stripy. But yeah, I feel like there's just a lot going on, and I'm not really sure about like what dye technique one would use to like get this kind of look, but she had like all these different colors in the same technique. So I ended up going for this beautiful pink situation, but I'm really keen to see how this knits up, and I feel like it will be really pretty. And of course the sparkles were just too pretty. I had to get them. So another impulse buy, but this one wasn't too expensive, okay? So it's fine. We're justified, okay? And then speaking of not too expensive, I ended up Also impulse buying. Oh my God, I'm dying. I'm dying. Oh my God, I'm dying. I just looked at the colorway name for this yarn, and just like the day I'm filming this, I've got no idea. When this goes up, this might not even be like culturally relevant anymore, but I'm filming this on the day that Trisha Paytas announced her baby name, and she announced that her baby is named Aquaman, which I think is hilarious. I was wheezing when I saw it. I was lying in bed just like fully just wheezing, cracking up of laughter because it's just so classic and so funny to me. Who names their child Aquaman? Only Trisha Paytas. This is Aquaman. I fully didn't even look at the colorway name, but I got this from Made Mo. It was $23, which I thought was like really reasonable for hand-dyed yarn. I think she's like a newer dyer, and literally evidence. I can't. Look at that. It says Aquaman. I can't. It's just, that is the craziest coincidence. So yeah, now I have Trisha Paytas baby yarn, apparently. That is so funny to me. So yeah, it's just a really pretty blue. I feel like I don't have, like if I look at my stash, I don't really have that much blue, especially in sock yarn. I don't think I have any blue knit socks that I can think of. So I thought this would be nice to kind of change things up a little bit. And also it's still really pretty. I love blue. But yeah, I cannot believe this is called Aquaman. I'm only realizing this literally now. Hilarious. But yeah, this is from Made Mo, who yeah, I feel like is a pretty new dyer, so that probably explains like the price, but she had some really nice stuff, and I actually ended up getting something else from her, which I'll show you at the end. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay, and then all of these last skeins I'm going to show you now are all from Hodgepodge Skeins, who was not on my list because they were not at Bendigo last year, and I wasn't like super familiar with them. I feel like I've definitely heard of them, like it just sounded like a familiar business name, but I wasn't following them, and like I wasn't like super familiar with their yarns or anything, and I hadn't seen them, I don't think, at a Fibre festival before. She said that they hadn't been at Bendigo for a couple of years, and I only went last year. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to see this yarn, so it wasn't on my list, but it was a lovely surprise, and I ended up going back quite a few times and buying a fair amount of yarn because there was just so many beautiful colorways. I just couldn't resist. So I'll start with like the first things that I got from them because those were on my list. I just didn't know where I'd actually be getting them from. And so yeah, speaking of blue, I got this blue mini skein because I talked about this in my Bendigo plans video, but I have been planning on making the Dream Home sock set by Stone Knits, and I had almost all of the yarn. All I really needed was a white and a blue that would be like a sky blue, and I had been looking for this specific blue for a while and hadn't found anything, and I kind of just wanted to get a mini. Like I didn't want to have to spend like all that money on something that I wasn't going to need more than what a mini skein could get me, and then just end up with all this leftovers. So I had been keeping my eye out for a mini, and I just hadn't been able to find anything. And then she had this like jar full of minis, and I found the perfect sky blue that I feel like it's just yeah, it's perfect. And I did actually bring the other yarn that I'd already bought for the socks with me so that I could like check to see that it like matched, and it definitely did. So I now, because I also got the white, which I like did kind of already mention, and I will show you in a second, now I can actually cast those on. So I think those are going to be the next socks that I cast on, which is very exciting. So yeah, I got my beautiful sky blue, and then I ended up getting, they had this beautiful white, which I didn't actually really expect to find. I wasn't sure if I was going to find like a white hand-dyed yarn because like obviously the bare yarn isn't quite white, but I just wasn't sure if like many dyers really like did whites, but I guess they do because obviously whites are pretty common and like you want to pair it with things and whatnot. So yeah, they had this white, it's called Prosecco, and I ended up getting the full skein rather than a mini because yeah, like I said, I'm going to use this for the little check socks as well. So I wanted to make sure I had enough because this will be like the clouds in the Dream Home sock set. So yeah, they look perfect together, and those were the first ones I bought. And then I just went off the rails. Okay, I got, oh, this is so pretty. I can't deal. I got this one single skein of sock yarn again in the colorway Confetti because holy moly, like have you not ever seen anything this beautiful in your life? I don't think I have. I think this might be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. So I just had to get it, okay? I had to get it. It's too good. I love just like the subtle speckles of like blue, purple. There's a bit of like, if I pull it down, there's a bit of like orange going on, but it's not too much. And then there's like a bit of neon yellow and obviously a lot of pink. I just think it's gorgeous. And honestly, it's probably like the closest thing I have is like maybe like my Sister Legit or my Rainbows and Sprinkles yarns. Like this one honestly could go up there with those two if I had space, but it is definitely different. And yeah, I feel like they're different, but maybe I'll end up putting all of these yarns together at some point. Who knows really? But yeah, I just had to get this one. It was too good not to. And then the last ones that I got from Hodgepodge, I got 3 actually, because I was just like, maybe I should get like a proper quantity so I can make like a tee or a vest or something. So I got 3 skeins of this DK. It's actually DK sock yarn. I did not even realize this. Oh, and it's got silk in it. Okay, interesting. It's, yeah, they just called it their A-ply, but it's also, yeah, 100 grams, 200 meters. So I think it just depends. Like some people say that's A-ply, some people would say that's a worsted. I don't know, but it's 70% merino, 10% silk, which is probably why it's so soft, and 20% nylon. Now I'm like, does this one also have silk? No, the 4-ply doesn't have silk. So it's a slightly different fiber content and it is so soft. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. And it's in the colorway Dawn. It's so beautiful. I feel like once I kind of like take it off, you'll really be able to see, but like, oh, it is so pretty. Just love the mix of the oranges, pinks and blues. It's just so mesmerizing, but it's like quite like, because it's so pastel, I feel like it's kind of, it's not like too bright obviously, and it's really wearable. So I got 3 skeins of this color. So very keen to see what these become. I don't know, but at least I got enough to make something, okay? And I didn't just get one, okay? I was trying to be smart about it. All right, we just have one purchase left to show you all, and it's one that maybe people saw coming. I semi-saw coming, but then also thought I would be able to resist, and then just, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I just tripped and fell, and it was in my bag, and I paid for it, and now it's in my possession, okay? I have resisted for a long time as well. Like I've gone to a lot of these things, these shows, these festivals, these markets, and I always see what I'm about to show you at these markets, and I always resist because I know I don't need to start another hobby. I don't have the tools required to actually use what I'm about to show you, and I don't need to start another hobby, okay? And so I have always resisted despite how beautiful it is, how much I always enjoy just like feeling what I'm gonna show you, and how soft it always looks, and just how pretty and all the different colors, and how tempted I've been. Trust me, I've been tempted, and I was too tempted this time. And you know what, I thought, well, I don't have a spinning wheel or a drop spindle or an e-spinner or anything one would need to actually spin yarn. I'm assuming you know where I'm going with this now. But Chloe has an e-spinner, and this could just be a fun one-time activity. 2 friends just hanging out, spinning some yarn, and it will never happen again, right? I'll never do it again unless I get one for myself, and then that might be a cry for help at that point. But at this stage, I'm like, I don't need to buy any of the things. I don't need a drop spindle. I don't need any of the things. Chloe has an e-spinner. I can go over to her house one day. We can just spin some yarn, and then that will be it. And then I'll have some hand-spun yarn that I made, and hopefully it will be nice. So I bought this. I bought some Fibre, okay? It's also from Made in Mo, the same one who did the Macrame. Still can't get over that. She had such pretty fibres. I was obsessed with so many of them, but this one immediately stuck out to me. It's called Mango Circus, but it really reminded me of Chloe's Me as a Bird colorway. I think it's like a little bit less pastel than hers, like it's a bit more vibrant, but just like the combination of the colors, the blues, the oranges, the pinks, it just really reminded me of it. And so I thought, how cool would that look like in a hand spun yarn? Because normally I just love looking at the fiber. Like, I just love the braids. I love like how it looks unspun, and normally I don't really even want to know what it looks like spun up. I'm just like, ooh, look how pretty it is. But yeah, for a while, this is just gonna be nice to look at until I eventually get around to spinning it. But when I do, I'm hoping it will be some really pretty yarn that I can then use. It's 100 grams, so this could be a whole skein of yarn, and we'll just have to see what happens with it. I don't know. It wasn't that expensive, and I just thought it will be a fun thing. And don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me. I promise you, I'm totally mentally well, okay? All right, that does bring us now to the end of the haul, and my camera is probably gonna die again, so I'm gonna try and wrap this up fairly quickly. Whew, we made it. I guess overall, in summary, the sheep show this year, the sheep and wool show, was amazing. I had the best time. I had so much fun. Also just like meeting so many of you guys. The amount of people that came up to me and said, I watch your YouTube videos, and weren't saying I follow you on Instagram, was wild to me, because I always think no one watches these. Like, compared to like my following on Instagram, I just feel like my YouTube is just like my little kind of like secret little space that no one actually knows about. But like, there was like a fair few of you guys that were like, I watch your YouTube videos, and I was like, I'm kind of sorry that you do, but that was really cool, and also kind of motivating, because sometimes I'm like, why am I spending so much time on these if no one watches them? But it is nice to know that people do watch them, even though obviously I see the view counts, and like, yes, I know people watch them, but like, you know, you can't like visualize actual humans. So thank you so much to everyone who like came up to me. It was so nice to meet everyone, and yeah, especially at Chloe's stall, I think that's probably where I met the most people, but also like, I met some of you guys in the wild, so that was really cool. And it was really cool also to like meet some of my testers as well. To see people wearing my patterns was crazy. I always just get so mind blown when that happens, and it's so heartwarming to see you guys wearing my designs and liking them and all those things. And like, obviously, like I said, everyone who bought the book, it was just so nice. And yeah, I just had the best time. Also just was so inspiring to see like so many beautiful yarns, and also beautiful like sample knits at all the different stalls. And I feel like, yeah, my like wheels are turning. I'm like keen to get stuck into some new designs, because I haven't done really any in a while. And yeah, I'm feeling excited and kind of overwhelmed by how much I bought, but it is what it is, okay? And I'm very much most likely not going to hopefully buy much more this year, maybe none. I'm not gonna put myself on a complete yarn ban, because you just never know. But like, I can imagine that I won't be buying very much for the rest of the year. Let's hope, okay? But I've been working through my stash to make space, and I feel like when I just move some things around, then I will hopefully have space for all of this. But yeah, that's gonna be the next task, so wish me luck. Thanks so much for watching. I think we're actually there, we're at the end. The next video will definitely be a podcast, a well overdue knitting podcast, which I will show you everything that I have been making, because I've been making so much and I just haven't had the time to do a podcast. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.